Hey guys, welcome to the Explanation Pro. In this video, I am going to talk about the 2019 historical action-adventure film, Torpedo. As usual, there will be spoilers ahead, so take them with a grain of salt and let's get started. The movie opens with a scene in which an officer is tortured by putting his head through the water. Then, we see an officer walking past four men who are supposed to be executed. Soldiers and their commanders come to the place of execution. Just as the soldiers are saluting their commander, two men distract them by shooting from the building. Between this chaos, the four people who are to be executed take out their hidden guns and kill all the soldiers except for the commander. They also untie themselves. One of the four takes a watch from a dead soldier's hand. In the next scene, we see a war room in London in 1941. Belgian and British officers are discussing a plan. They say that they are taking these desperate measures as these are desperate times. The British officers say that the plan is nuts. They also say that no one will be willing to do this. But the Belgian officers say that they know a few people who are capable of carrying out this mission. But they need the Britain officers' help to get them in a ship. But the Britain officers say that no one knows their whereabouts and their government gave shoot-at-sight orders for these people. Their conversation ends by remembering the sentence "desperate times, desperate measures" again. The four people who escape take the commander with them to a place that seems like a campsite. We see a woman who is being asked about potatoes being sprouted, but she is least concerned about them as she is mad at Stan for not including her in the mission they just pulled out. There is a person who is updating this to the higher orders. The person on the other end of the call asks him not to damage the package, referring to the officer. He replies that they are just asking him some questions. But that is not what's happening. One of those men, named Stan, drowns the officer's head in the water. Which is the first scene that we see. He sees the time and lets him breathe after a minute or so. Then he drops a bomb into the water tub. The bomb blasts and the officer is now dead and headless. Everyone is worried as someone is supposed to pick up the officer soon. A man named Franz Jaeger is in a prison and the officer is showing him pictures of his family. But Franz Jaeger says that he will not betray his country for a son who is dead. The officer says that there is still a chance to save his other son. The woman we saw earlier is Nadine. She is looking through her gun which has no bullets. Philip comes and gives her a bullet and says he found a lot of them. He offers to give them the bullet but asks her to kiss him first. She does and takes the bullet from him to try. She aims for a small animal on a tree but ends up breaking the tree into half as the bullets are highly powerful. We see Stan trying to sleep but unable to. He is in a nightmare in which he is a prisoner and the officers holding him prisoner kill his wife in front of him. He puts Stan's wife's ring in Stan's pocket and asks him to sell it to the Jews. The officer asks Stan to tell them where he hid the Jews. He does not answer and spits on the officer's face. The officer gets angry and orders to fill the bathtub. That is when he wakes up to Nadine tending to a wound on his wrist. She tries to talk about the post and letter but they get interrupted as they get visitors. An officer comes there to take the briefcase of the German officer Stan killed earlier. He is the man that killed him. He also gives him an envelope containing information about an important mission. The man leaves and also tells Stan that the mission will include a lot of dead Germans. He is wondering if he should take the offer or not. They agree to be a part of this mission. They go on a boat to a submarine in the water. There the officer explains their mission. They are in the waters and they are supposed to go to America to deliver a special package. That package is uranium. The members do not really know what uranium can do and are not really serious. But the officer informs them that the uranium can be used to make bombs. Not just any bombs but those which can even eliminate a whole city. The crew gets a little serious. The officer tells them that they are going to learn how to operate this submarine in 3 weeks with the help of a German captain whom we saw earlier. Stan hates Germans and is not so sure about this mission now. But they cannot back off now. Franz Jaeger, the German captain, is here to train them. But he says that this is a suicide mission as no one can learn all of this in 3 weeks. He says that it takes 12 months even for an intelligent person to learn how to run a submarine. He reluctantly starts teaching them about it. They start with a basic tour of the whole submarine. The crew is joking around about how they must flush the toilet. They ask them about the torpedoes but the officer says that they will not be using those as this is just a transport mission and not an attack mission. The officer assigns them roles like handling the engine, communication, and so on. But he does not allow any role for Nadine. She is furious. Stan is very protective of her and he says that she will stay in a village near the coast until they return. She spends the last night swimming and having private time with her lover Philip. He says that he will try talking to Stan and convince him to let her stay. The next day, strong African men are helping them transfer uranium-filled boxes from a boat to the submarine. Meanwhile, they hear on the radio that some ships are searching for them and coming towards them. They are German ships coming to attack them. The man who brought them the uranium betrayed them. But he is gone by the time they realize that an African is stuck on the ship. They prepare to sail, but Franz says that it is not a part of their agreement. He is only supposed to teach them, but it is too soon and they are not completely trained. The officer and Franz have an argument with the gun involved and Franz kills the officer. When Stan and the crew members see this, they are furious. Stan, who already hates Germans, is not very angry at Franz. Stan asks him to sail them. He reluctantly accepts. He orders them and gives them commands to operate the submarine, but Stan is the one who is actually in charge. Everyone takes their positions and the submarine starts moving on the water. But they see that the German ships are still behind them. Stan orders Franz, who is now handcuffed, to make them go underwater. Franz does it. The remaining one of them goes to the toilet and turns the wrong knob for flushing. It is highly dangerous as the engine is situated below the toilet. Franz comes and tries to fix the situation. Franz sees that there is some issue with the marine gas. They had to take it to the surface due to that. German planes are flying in the sky to locate where they are. They could not find them as they were underwater. But now that they are on the surface, a pilot sees them. Stan wonders why the pilot is not attacking and Franz tells that they have a strategy. They wait for the submarine to go underwater and then attack as it will be easier. Until then, they will make rounds to keep them distracted and call other planes. They too think of a strategy and start going underwater. As they start to go underwater, Stan is with the sun and starts shooting at the plane. They continue to go underwater while this is going on. Stan almost drowns but survives. Their plan worked and they continued their journey. Stan still gets flashbacks of the traumatizing events of his wife's death. He was imprisoned by the Germans, hence the hatred towards them. They keep asking for the Jew's location and as he refuses, they bring Stan's baby boy into the picture. He threatens to drown the baby. Stan finally submits and gives them the location they need. He can hear the sounds of shooting and people dying. But the German officer does not keep his word. He puts the baby where there is no proper balance and closes the door harshly. The baby loses his balance, falls into the bathtub, and drowns in death. Stan was there forced to watch his son die. He struggles to release himself from the handcuffs but he could not and all they gave him are the scars on his hands. Meanwhile, they are underwater and Franz notices that they are going off course by 50 degrees. It is Philip's job and his carelessness cost them hours. Franz searches for him and finds Philip and Nadine in an intimate setting. He asks him to stop fooling around and get back to work. Stan, who does not know about Philip and Nadine, comes there and finds them too. Nadine and Stan have an intense conversation about what she can and cannot do. He is a very protective father. Nadine decides to get married then and there with the help of the captain, but they are interrupted as they spot another ship. Nadine and Philip have a conversation where he tells her that her mother and brother are dead. They go inside the water again. They notice a change in frequency as the enemy submarine launches a torpedo against them. They play defense and shift their location and fortunately, they miss the torpedo. Franz asks a couple of them to go get ready for their torpedo with the manual so that they can attack. They go radio silent so the enemies do not spot them. But there is a sudden disturbance and they are forced to restart the engines and load the torpedo faster. One of the crew members gets injured as the torpedo falls on his leg while loading it. The enemy ship is right behind them. They shoot the torpedo. They successfully shoot the enemy ship but the impact also damages theirs. They go to the surface. There is a storm outside. They severely injured the man's legs to keep him from dying. They stop a German ship from approaching and Franz answers and tells them they are Germans too and invites them for whiskey to keep their suspicion at bay. They have whiskey together but they hear sounds of the man whose legs are cut. He just notices his legs are gone. One of the Germans goes there to check on it and soon notices that they are not Germans. They manage to pretend for a while but soon the Germans notice they are lying. They have a fight and they kill the Germans. Franz gains Stan's complete trust as he saves Stan's life by killing the German head. Franz decides to take this hazardous material away from Germany and Hitler as he does not want them to use it. Stan trusts Nadine and asks her to shoot the enemy ship. She is not sure about it, but Stan reassures her that she is capable of doing it. Nadine shoots at the German ship and they start going underwater. But as their submarine's damage becomes worse now. Water is coming inside and Nadine is stuck on the other side. Philip is not in a position to save her and looks like the couple is having their last moments together. She downs and becomes unconscious. Stan is also injured, but he goes outside to save Nadine. He successfully saves her and gets her inside. She does not have a pulse, but they give her first aid and she is breathing now. But Stan is already injured. He dies in the hands of his daughter, Nadine. Franz goes outside to fix the submarine and get it back to the surface. He succeeds but drowns in the process by spending his final moments looking at his son's picture. It is both a happy and sad moment for all of them. The story is forwards to 4 years where they show Nadine and Philip's kids and the rest of the crew enjoying a beach. They also a radio a bit where they tell that America dropped a bomb on Hiroshima. The bomb killed a lot of people. This means they delivered the uranium and the Americans made a bomb out of it. That's all for today's video, and thanks for watching it. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, let me know in the comments below which movie you want me to cover in the next video. Until next time, take care and stay tuned.